Welcome back to Perfect World Post-Production, where over the last couple of episodes we've been playing around with Create Aeronautics with limited success and a whole lot of graphical issues. As such, I have now decided to remove Aeronautics from the world, and I've reverted to the world download I took before adding it in the first place.
Come on, what?
Now, Aeronautics is a lot of fun, and I'm sure if I had built a pack around it, I wouldn't be having the issues I am, but this world was over 6 months old when Aeronautics came out, and was a lovely stable pack before I added Aeronautics. So by reverting back to this save and not having Aeronautics in here anymore, I've said Aeronautics so much in this intro already, it means we can just crack on where we left off without any further problems. Hopefully. That being said, I've been very distracted over the last month or so playing on the Just Create SMP and having a whole lot of fun being a pirate. In fact, I forgot to change my skin over. I'm still a pirate. But you should totally check out that series if you haven't already. But as I've been so distracted, and the last 2 episodes I did on here, I didn't do anything over in this area, I need to kind of remind myself what we've got on this world and what our future plans are. Now, the first thing I'm noticing is that I seem to be overstressed. Even if I remove this factory over here, I'm still overstressed. If I remove the hypertubes over there, I'm still overstressed. But if I disable the cobble generators, for example, we're suddenly fine. So, I think the first thing we need to do today is get more power. Apparently 3 giant pillars that are absolutely rammed full of windmills isn't enough. Now the question is, what do we want to do? Probably have a sleep. Let's do that. We've got a couple of options. We could, of course, put a steam power plant in here, but that's not very solar punk. Our solar panels don't actually produce power, of course, because they're just daylight sensors. So I guess we probably need another offshore wind farm, which if we go over here, we'd already have one of those. But how much power does this one actually produce? I can't remember. Let's have a look. Only 245, apparently. That's not as much as I thought it was going to be. Maybe we don't want to be doing that then? So we could add a few of these, but that's not really going to solve our long-term power problem because we're going to need a whole lot more power than that for that oil rig. But we're not completely out of options. If we jump in here, for example, just going to crank up our brightness temporarily. But we've got a whole lot more space underground down here. I mean, just look at this. We've got loads of vertical space, so we could just jam in a whole bunch more windmills. Probably isn't a terrible idea. As I said, we can, of course, do steam power. We could just build a steam power plant, but we do that every series, so I'm trying to avoid it as best I can. There's a whole lot of power for not a lot of work. Nope, I'm not going to give in. Not yet, anyway. We're just going to add a whole bunch more windmills, which means I probably want to grab myself lots of drills so that we can actually drill out the base of this column. We'll fill up one of them with windmills, all the way down to bedrock, maybe. And then in future, we know we can expand further with these 2 if we need to as well. And windmills don't seem to cause any lag so far, so we may as well just double down on them. So I need drills, super glue, a rope pulley, and a bunch of other stuff. So I think I'm going to take the train. Not been here in a while, we may as well enjoy the ride. Well, it's about 20 minutes later and we've been digging a giant hole. We just have a rope pulley there that we've hooked up to the bottom windmill, which we've disconnected from all the rest so that we don't have the stress problems. And that's just powered this rope pulley all the way down to the bottom here. And I think it may have hit bedrock. It seems to have just stopped. Yep, we've certainly hit bedrock. So now what I need to do is reverse direction on this windmill, pull this all the way back to the top. In fact, I don't need to do that at all. I could just destroy the rope pulley altogether, then destroy my big drill down here, and then I'm just going to need to put in a floor and some lights, and then we can build a whole lot more windmills. Right, the floor is in. I'm probably going to want some lighting on the walls as we go up as well, just because we don't want things spawning on the windmills before I turn them on. That would be bad. Well, I was just about to start building these windmills, and a thought occurs to me. I recently added pattern schematics to the mod pack. And I've not used them yet, but if we have a quick little ponder of this, what we can basically do is create a schematic, then create a pattern schematic from that, and then basically we can just repeat the structure a number of times, feed it into a schematic cannon, and then it will build the whole thing. Which, considering how many windmills we need to build here, this could be very, very useful for us. I will, however, need to go get myself a pattern schematic. I'm going to need a schematic cannon, loads of gunpowder. Then I reckon we can probably get this done quite quickly and crack on with something a little bit more interesting. So we're going to need pink dye, going to need paper, iron sheets. That's our empty pattern schematic. Going to need a cannon, a table, a quill. Gonna need a bunch of gunpowder. I don't know why I got 2 stacks. We definitely don't need that much. Let's just chuck one of them back. So if we take a schematic of this. I want to get the whole windmill. I want to get the bit below, not the bit above. And we want to get all of that. That should be everything we need. Save that schematic as temp windmill blade. Turn that into a pattern schematic. Now, let's see how this works. Ooh, it's purple, not blue. Fancy. Right. So, first up, let's get this in position. Okay, that should do it. Now, what have we got? Position, rotate, mirror, clone. That's what we want. Oh, there we go. Now I just scroll and it makes loads more of them. As long as I stay underneath it, I can just clone this all the way down to the bottom. Oh, this is amazing. No, I've cloned it out to the sides as well. How have I done that? I don't know how I've done that, and I don't know how to undo it. I think I'm just going to go remake the schematic and start again. I can't seem to get rid of all the extra ones on the sides. At least not from in here. Maybe I could if I went outside. If I go here, can I... Ah, there we go. Now I just need to get it back into position. Go, and make sure it's going all the way to the bottom. It's going maybe a bit too far to the bottom. Let's just remove a bunch of these. Get it back in position again. I mean, it's taken a while to get this right, but that's mostly a me problem. But it's still going to be a whole lot quicker than building them myself. But I think we've finally got it in position. So if we now put the pattern schematic in here, put the gunpowder in, make sure this is all set correctly, and give it my backpack. And do I have a clipboard? No, of course I don't. I mean, we've probably got enough stuff in here, though. Let's risk it. Just tell it not to skip missing blocks, and then if it does run out of something, it'll tell us. So this is now just going to build up row after row of what we want. Oh, yes, look at that. So much power. Now I just need to turn them all on. And best off starting at the top for that. Let's just pick up all my stuff on here first. Start turning these on. There we go, everything's just kicked in. I only actually needed to add 4 more, get everything running again, but this gives us a lot of power for the future. Once I turn them all on, this could take a moment. It's a bit awkward. Oh, jeez. There we go, we have fans spinning all the way up now. My frames are absolutely fine. Wonderful. How much power has that given us, though? We now have a total of 704,000, and that gives us 250 to play with. So safe to say we're probably going to need to do that to the other 2 legs as well in future, but for now, we've got some power to play with. Now, the last factory we did was the metals factory, I believe. Let's have a quick look at our wall of stuff and see what we're making. Yes, lots of stuff. Oh, and we've got our Guardian farm going as well. I forgot about that. So we're doing pretty well on the production side of things so far. Now we've actually got all of the metals, what I want to work towards is creating an andesite age farm. And maybe even a brass age one. But essentially, I want to start automating all of the Create components, and we're going to start with the andesite ones, like the gearboxes, the fans, the drills, and things like that. And then work our way up towards all the brass things. We'll probably automate the tanks, and so on. And that is the ultimate goal of this platform, to produce all of those things for me. So anything I want to make in future should be a whole lot easier. Now, if we want to start automating all these things, the first thing we're going to need is a factory diagram, so we can work out exactly what it is we're building. Oh yes, and during Aeronautics, we did get rid of our Megatorch mod, trying to fix all the graphical issues, because they have a thing that they do with entities, but yeah, didn't help with Aeronautics, and now I have no Megatorches anywhere, which means mobs are going to be all over the place. So I should probably make myself some more of these, and then we'll do the factory diagram. So I've filled my pockets with a bunch of things we're going to need to work out this factory diagram, and I think I'm going to do it inside here, just so it stays out of the way. Now, the first thing we're going to want is andesite casings, because we can't really do much of anything without those. We're already making alloys, so that's not a problem, but that does mean we're going to need a tree farm. So let's just add that to our clipboards. Now, we're also going to need to make shafts, which are made from andesite alloy. Then we're going to need shafts to make cogs alongside wood. Although it's actually planks we're going to need, isn't it? Let's just add those connections. So far, the only new production we actually need is logs. Everything else we can make from things we're already making. Next up, we're going to want gearboxes. So that means we need to link to the andesite casings and the cogs. Although if I carry on making this diagram like this, it's going to be an absolute mess. I think what I might be better off doing is just separating things out like this. So then I know these are all sort of different crafting stations, effectively. So now if I want to do the gearbox, I can just put andesite casing and cogs there, because we're already making those. Or at least we will be by the time we get to this point. So that's the gearbox done. Now I just want to focus on these basic things here. So let's do the fans first. So we're going to need to make propellers from andesite alloy and iron sheets. Then we'll use fans, casings, and shafts to make the encased fans. Next up, we're going to need a mechanical whisk. So to get a whisk, we need alloy and sheets again. Then we use a whisk, a casing, and a cog to actually make the mechanical whisk itself. So looking at this so far, basically what I'm going to need is just a bunch of mechanical crafters. I can have one that makes gearboxes, I can have one that makes cogs, or two in fact, because there's two different types of cogs. I'm going to need a tiny one to make shafts. I'm going to need mechanical crafters for each of these things. So yeah, lots of mechanical crafters. But I've still got a whole bunch more things to plan out, so I guess I'm going to quickly get this done, and hopefully when I bring you back in, this thing's going to be covered in gauges, and we're going to have some kind of an idea of what to do next, hopefully. Right. Well, this is just the andesite stuff. I haven't even got onto the brass yet, but as you can see, there's a lot of things that need to be done. And if we take a look at my clipboard, there's actually a few additional farms that we need. So there is, of course, the tree farm, because we are going to need wood over here. But that's nice and simple. We also need a simple kelp farm, but then we are going to need redstone, and that's when things get a bit more tricky, because to make redstone, we need all of this stuff, which means we need to get nether wart, we need to get blaze rods. So we're going to need farms for both of those. Then once we've got the redstone, we can make rose quartz to get our electrodes so that we can make deployers and things like that. So yeah, we've certainly got our work cut out for us, and I think it does make sense for us to actually make a start with building these farms here. Then we can just have a building where we construct everything out of the raw resources. Now, we're not going to be able to make the rose quartz farm until we've done the redstone farm, but the tree farm and the kelp farm, these should be fairly straightforward. So I guess what I need to do is take a look at my platform, decide what the next building's going to look like, and get some kind of a structure over here that we can build these things inside of. One short time lapse later, we now have a giant building with which to start building some of these farms in. Now, while I was building this, I did try to think about what farms could go where. My current thinking is we're going to stick a kelp farm down the bottom here. We're going to have a tree farm over on this side, potentially a nether wart farm in the tower here. We've got plenty of space up here to go steal some blaze spawners and make a blaze farm. Or maybe in this bit here, actually. That's probably a good size for it. And then we've got plenty of space to do all the potion brewing we need to do, to make the redstone, the netherrack, and all the other bits and bobs. And my plan here is to basically make all the other core resource farms we're going to need, so that we can then take all those items and have a giant factory that just crafts all of the create items. That's the hope anyway, and I think I'm going to start over here with a tree farm. And already looking at this, that lamp is clearly not going to be any good to go there, so let's get rid of this. You don't want that blocking any tree growth after all. I think I'm just going to have a circle tree farm, just a little spinny farm, you know, the ones, something nice and basic, and then we'll just grow some birch trees most likely, because them ones are, well, they're a lot more predictable in what shape they are when they grow. And that means I know they'll definitely fit in this space. And that's probably going to be big enough, but I don't have any of the things I need on me to actually make a tree farm. And it would also make sense to use some rich soil for this so that it gets bone milled and grows nice and quickly. But I don't know if I've actually got any of that left, so let's go check storage. If not, we're going to have to make some, but that's not a problem. And then I also need to grab a bunch of create components to make this farm, some storage drawer stuff, just generally a whole bunch of stuff and things. Wow, they are spinning incredibly fast. Oh, there we go. So let's just build a nice basic tree farm. We've got 30 rich soil. I don't know if that's going to be enough, but I'm hoping it is. I can confirm it is not. Not to worry, we should be able to make some more compost. We can put that next to the rich soil and it will gradually convert. Let's just make a whole bunch of organic compost. And then we'll just fill in the last little bit there. Now for power, we are going to use a windmill, but what I'm actually going to do, let me just punch a hole through, stick the windmill underneath, along with storage. So let's just attach all of that. And then when the windmill starts spinning, it's going to spin our mechanical bearing up here. So if we put our saws in, there's some deployers behind, filtered for birch saplings. I'll tell you what, I'm actually going to move the storage and put that up here. So that will act as a nice connector for all this stuff. And some girders for some support. Let's get all that glued together. And lastly, we're going to need to offload everything. So let's use a portable interface here. We'll punch a hole in the floor here. A drawer controller. The smart chute on top. Another storage interface, and then what I'm going to do is set this to only take exactly 32 items out at a time. That means there should always be some saplings left in here for planting, which is good. We need that. Then what I need to do is get this trim connected to the storage system, and the best place for that, probably going to be all the way over there. Actually, thinking about it, I have some disguised trim in the floor up here, don't I? So I don't need to go all the way over there at all. What I can actually do is just go over this way a little bit, connect up to this bit here. That is actually a framed trim there. So there we go. That's now all part of storage. We're going to set this to only place when anchor destroyed. We click that. Okay, perfect. Just add a few more saplings to make sure it all gets planted. Get that block back in. And I don't seem to have any animation on these. That might be another setting I need to turn back on after messing around with Aeronautics, because I was trying everything to get the animations to work on that, including disabling vanilla animations. Now what I'm also going to do is put a spruce trim in there with storage for saplings. And then if we go to our main storage area, that's where we'll put the one for our wood. And that is all the way over here. I think it might soon be time for some more hypertubes so we can connect up more of this factory. Let's set that one to birch. So as simple as that, we now have our tree farm. We have wood coming in. So I am going to speed it up a little bit. I'm just going to add on some extra wool. It's actually painfully slow at the moment. There we go. That's better. And then once that compost turns into rich soil like the rest of it, in fact, it's already started, then this will be at max capacity. Doesn't look very good though, so we could probably do with a little bit of decoration. And as long as I don't put any flowers anywhere near this bit here, we're not going to get bee nests turning up on these trees, and then we won't have a return to the bee apocalypse that we had in Perfect World 1. We learned our mistakes then. But we'll worry about tidying this up later. For now, I want to move on to the next farm, which I think is going to be our nether warts. The problem is we don't have any nether warts, but we can get it from crushing nether wart blocks, and I believe we have some of those. 248. So let's crush down these wart blocks and see how much nether wart we can get. Well, we managed to get 60. That's definitely enough to get us started, but it's not going to be enough for a whole farm. Now, how big can we make this farm? If we were to go for something this size, we can then put in another wall and kind of section off this whole area as a bit like a greenhouse growing room type thing. We'll just have a layer of soul sand like that, and then as we get more and more nether warts, we'll keep building this up. We'll go higher and higher. In fact, what I'm going to do is remove this row here so that we've got somewhere to put the contraption that's going to harvest everything. Let's just quickly get the windows in on this side, and then we can get the harvesters in. And I just realized I still had my light levels turned up, and it's quite dark in here, so I should probably add some more lanterns. Right, harvesters. Just going to have these in rows. Stick a barrel there. We're going to need to connect all of these up, so we're just going to use girders and get all of that glued together. Now, we're also going to need a drop-off system for this, but I actually want this system on a timer, so let me quickly set that up now. So if we have a controller rail here, a normal rail with a powered rail at the end, we'll make sure that one's powered. This one here, we'll put a cart assembler, set this to lock rotation. Stick a minecart in there. Then we're going to put a pulse extender. Just set that to a second. Then we're going to put a pulse timer. Oh, it's already gone off. And we just want this going off every 30 seconds or so. And there we go. That's working a treat. Fantastic. So now I just need an offloading system for this. And I've got an idea. Now, if we just take out this edge here. For now, I'm just going to remove the minecart so it stops running off when I'm trying to build on it. Let's move the barrel. What I'm actually going to do is put the barrel here. I'm going to remove this pillar. Punch a hole in the floor, because that's going to come in handy in just a moment. I'm going to put in a smart chute, going into a drawer controller. And then we've got some industrial iron framed trim here. So if we put this in, we can get that connected to storage. Hopefully, we can just cover this with a bit of copycat board. Same on the inside here. Just to make it look the same on both sides, we're going to make sure we do this. Now, if I just glue the barrel to here, make sure all of that's definitely stuck together. Then when I chuck this down here now, what will happen is it'll run off, it'll pick up all this stuff, come back, and then when it comes back, because this will turn itself not into a contraption anymore, we can just pull things directly out of the barrel, into the chute, and into our storage system. But it is going to need somewhere to go, so let's go sort that out. In fact, for now, because we actually need the nether wart to plant a whole lot more fields, what I'm going to do is just put the storage box over here. There we go. And as this comes in, we can just keep replanting it, and eventually we'll have a bunch of fields. For now, though, let's move on to the next farm. Okay, so we've done the tree farm, we've done the nether wart farm. So let's actually sort this out properly. So that's the nether wart farm done. The next up, let's do the blaze farm. And I'm aware we do have a mob spawner back at spawn that does have blaze spawners in it, and that does, of course, produce blaze rods for us. But I think we want an independent setup over here, otherwise we're going to have to AFK over at our starter area at that mob farm to get the blaze rods, and then we're going to have to come and AFK over here to get the redstone. Whereas I'd much rather it was all just in one place. So that means I need to go get myself some more blaze burners. So I'm going to build myself some cart contraptions, some mine carts, grab some levers, and then we'll go raid the nether. Okay, that should be just about all I need. So let's find some blaze spawners. Looks like I've already robbed that fortress, so let's go find another one. I've just found a pair of spawners. This will be a good start. So we're just going to do this. We're going to put this down. We're going to stick a minecart on it. And if we power it, we can pick it up. Perfect. Oh, hello, buddy. Right, let's go get the one next door as well. There we go. See if this fortress has any more. Nope, it looks like it was just the two in this one. Right, well, I found another fortress and another spawner. See if there's any more. So I've managed to get 6 blaze spawners. That should be more than enough. So, a blaze farm. Let me think about this. If we were to put the blaze spawners 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like that, then although that gives enough space for them to spawn in, it doesn't give me any space to be able to move them around and get the actual blaze rods from them. So, maybe we should do this somewhere else. And I think that somewhere else is going to be over this side. We might end up having to move these stairs over there just so we've got space, but this should work a little bit better. Okay, I think we're working this out. So I've pulled everything forward a little bit on this side. We can still get into the room up here via these stairs. I've just sort of changed the layout a little bit. We've got many belts on the floor. That's going to catch all of the blazes, push them this way, then going to go up here and drop into the kill chamber. My deployer here is set to attack mode and has a sword, and we've got a smart shoot with a filter on it to make sure it takes out everything apart from the sword, because the deployer, when it attacks something, will actually pick up any loot that it drops. However, if the thing that it kills drops more than one item of loot, then it can often get left behind, and that's what these hoppers here are for. And then that's going to feed everything into the system, which is basically going to be XP and blaze rods. Both useful things. But I think if I get the spawners in now, this should work. I mean, getting the spawners in is going to be quite dangerous. We're probably going to catch ourselves on fire a little bit. Let's see how we get on. So we're going to need to do this with some cart assemblers. Going to need more here. If I stand here and just do this, and yep, I'm definitely on fire, but we can remove all of these things. Excellent. Ow! Okay, right, I need to heal up a little bit. And there we go. We can start collecting the items. You know, I've got to get in there. Need to block up the top of these. Get set on fire again. Leave me alone. Okay, now they're all in there. They should do their thing. Well, I have to say, this thing's working an absolute treat. We're getting loads of blaze rods already. That's something else to tick off the list. And I think that means I should have everything I need to be able to start making redstone now. So to make the redstone dust, I do, of course, need cinder flour, which we can get from netherrack, which we can now make that we've got nether warts. And we're going to need to make potions of strength. That is why we need the blaze powder. So I reckon we can probably do the actual redstone making process in this room here. This will probably be enough space. But I'm going to need to go get a bunch of stuff I don't have. Extra stuff has been gathered, and hopefully I've got what I need to be able to make this farm. And what I have done is routed power over here from the belts down there. And I've also connected up storage. So to make these potions, the first thing we're going to need is a belt. Then we need a basin to mix in. So filter for nether wart, and we want exactly one at a time. They're going to go into here, and next we're going to need water. Let's just make a little reservoir here, like that. We'll have a pump in there, and we just need to pump that into the basin. We're going to need a mixer on top. We're also going to need to power this. So how about we put a cog in there? Preferably the right way around. There we go. We're also going to need to power the mixer. So let's take the power up the top. Then we put in a vertical gearbox and a cog. That's that side of things done. So that's going to pump in water. It's going to load up netherrack. Or nether wart, I should say. And then it's going to mix it. What we then need to do is take that out, and we're going to use a filter set up to take awkward potions. So that's the only thing it lets out. We're going to need another pump, then another basin, another mixer. Something I had considered but had forgotten about is we're going to need to heat these basins, which means I do need to get lava over here somehow. We're also going to need to power all of this stuff. And maybe what we can actually do is put another cog in here, gearbox and a couple of encased chain drives. That will power that pump. Now, in theory, if I power this, is that going to go? Yep, that's going the right way. Excellent. So we've got water and nether wart in there. If I just give this guy a couple of planks. Yeah, there we go. That's making awkward potion. Okay, so what we now need to do over here is feed in blaze powder. So we can do that from this side. Get some vertical gearboxes on this belt with a shaft in the middle, and then get some crushing wheels, which I did bring with me. We're going to need a bunch more of this framed trim just so we can get connected up to storage again. We'll filter this for blaze rods. Once again, one at a time should be fine. Now we just need some power. And there we go. We're now getting blaze powder in there. So once again, if I put power in there, we should start getting potion of strength. Perfect. Now what we need to do is pump out the potion of strength. So we need another filter. This time for potion of strength. Put that on the back. What we're going to do is have that pump into a nice big tank. So we've got lots of potion of strength. Just need to make another small cog. Put that in here. And there we go. Potion of strength. So I just need to solve the lava problem now. My first step in that, what I'm going to do is actually clear a channel over here, which is where storage was connected up. I'm going to run the framed trim around the back here instead, because that way we can actually run lava pipes under the front bit. Right, there we go. Now to add some pipes. I think I'm just going to go out the wall here and then kind of route it through the building. We should be able to connect to the lava underground. We can encase the lava pipes as well. Wonderful. So I have got it all hooked up to my lava system, but I think we might not be bringing in enough lava because we're using it in quite a few places now. Yeah, our tanks are empty. Maybe not quite empty. This one's still got some in. Maybe we're just about keeping up. Maybe I just need to add more pumps. Yep, they just don't seem to be getting any lava. Oh, there we go. It seems to be coming through now. Okay, so we are now making potion of strength. We've got all that going into here. So next up, we need to make cinder flour, which means we need to crush netherrack. And to get netherrack, we need to mix nether warts and stones in a heated basin. So let's see, if we were to take netherrack out of there, stone out of there, then we're going to need another heated basin, which means we need more lava. Okay, so that's both of those going into a basin. Then we need a mixer on top. Just like that, and that should make some netherrack for us. So we seem to be struggling for lava. But we are making netherrack, so that's good. Then we're going to need more crushing wheels. Item drain there for the netherrack. Then, yep, that's giving us cinder flour. Excellent. Now, if we put a spout here, pipe across from there, we just need to get power to that pump. It's going to load up that. Then we can feed everything back into the system. And there we go. We have redstone coming in. Excellent. So apart from the fact we don't quite have enough lava, it keeps chopping on and off, look, as you can see, which tells me we are at the limits of the lava that we're importing from the nether at the moment. So we might have to make an infinite lava pool. Oh, we've got loads of lava in there. So although I have a visual representation of the lava going through the pipes here, if I actually remove a bit, you'll notice there's no lava coming through whatsoever. It says there is. There isn't. It's probably just the fact that this is all connected to the same line, and this is so far down the line that all the lava's getting used up in the other machines first. But if I want an independent line of lava from there over to here, that basically means that, yes, I'm probably going to need a lava pool, although the blaze burners do actually seem to be doing well with their lava now. Maybe I just had to break and replace a pipe and it glitched out. I don't know. The important thing is it's working. We're getting lots and lots of redstone. That's coming through a treat. And that means we can tick off the redstone farm. That was the toughest one of the day. And it's not the tidiest thing in the world, but it does do the job. Sadly, the last two farms on the list are going to have to wait till the next episode because sadly, I am out of time. This video needs to go out in a few hours and I've still got a little bit of editing to do. So we'll tackle those at the start of the next episode, shortly before we start tackling this. Oh my, what have we got ourselves into here?